Two hams, same animal, same country, same general process. The one on the left, sealed in white plastic, sells for around 37 euros per kilo if you buy a whole boneless leg. The one on the right, sealed in black, goes for about 103 on the same terms. Sliced and packaged, that black seal ham can pass 200 euros per kilo. Some boutique formats can clear 400 euros per kilo. Both came from a pig of the same breed group, Iberico, native to the Iberian Peninsula, and from the cured ham category built around it. The price gap isn't really about flavor, it's about a set of rules, and those rules are doing two jobs at once. Spain put together one of Europe's most detailed rulebooks for classifying a single agricultural product. It sits next to what France did with Bordeaux in 1855 and what Italy did with cheese. 3 questions in this video. First, how does the system actually work? 4 color seals encode something most people read wrong. Second, how did Spain get here? The current standard came into force in 2014. What did it replace and why? Third, what is the standard really protecting? Because if you look closely, it isn't only protecting the buyer. It's keeping a roughly 3 million hectare ecosystem economically alive. Start with the seal. Every Iberian ham sold in Spain under the national quality standard carries a colored plastic band wrapped around the leg. There are 4 of them: white, green, red, and black. They aren't decorative. Each one encodes 3 things at once. Breed. Spain runs a genetic registry for the Iberian pig. A ham can come from 100% Iberian animal or from a cross with the Duroc breed, typically 50% or 75% Iberian. The mother always has to be a registered pure Iberian sow. Diet. 3 categories. Cebo means raised on grain, mostly cereals and legumes, in industrial conditions. Cebo de campo is the same diet, but with outdoor access. Bellota, the Spanish word for acorn, is the strict one. The pig spends its final fattering phase loose in the dehesa, an open Mediterranean woodland, eating acorns and whatever else it can root out of the ground. And density. This is the part most explanations skip. The bellota standard caps the number of pigs per hectare based on tree cover, between 0.25 and 1.25 animals per hectare. Below a certain canopy, you cannot put any pigs there at all, period. Put those 3 axes together and you get the 4 seals. Black seal, 100% Iberian, acorn-fed, certified density, the most restrictive category in the standard. Red seal, acorn-fed and dehesa raised, but the animal is a 50% or 75% cross. Green seal, cebo de campo, outdoor access, grain-based diet, either pure Iberian or a cross. White seal, cebo, indoor, grain-fed, almost always a cross. Now, and here is where the most people get the system wrong, those 4 seals are not evenly distributed. Of every Iberian ham certified in Spain under the quality standard, roughly 2/3 carry the white seal. Industrial product, fed on cereal, raised indoors. The black seal, pure Iberian, acorn-fed, dehesa raised, was about 12% of certified Iberian production in 2021. One important caveat. That share is within the Iberico market. Iberian ham itself is a minority of all cured ham eaten in Spain. Most of what Spaniards consume is Jamon serrano, made from white-coat pigs and outside this rulebook. Black seal ham is what dominates the export image of the product. In volume terms, it's a small slice of a much bigger industrial market. So the seal isn't grading flavor on a scale. It's identifying a production model: animal, food, land, density, all 4 simultaneously. If this kind of breakdown is your thing, subscribing helps the channel keep making them. Now, back to how Spain got here. Spain didn't always classify Iberian ham in this way. Before 2014, the market was hard to read. There was a category called recebo, animals finished partly on acorn and partly on grain. That has since been eliminated. The label Iberico puro was banned outright. Crossbreeds and purebreds were sold under similar names. Producers used different formats. A consumer comparing two packets often had no clear way to tell what the actual difference was. Reports from the period described consumers buying what they thought was a top-tier acorn-fed ham and getting a partially grain-finished product, sold under labels that were technically legal, but practically misleading. This isn't only a Spanish problem. France went through it with wine in the 1800s, the Bordeaux classification of 1855, the one that ranked Lafite, Latour, Margaux, and Haut-Brion, was put together for the Paris exhibition because the wine market itself had become hard to read. Italy did something similar later with the protected designation system for cheese. In January 2014, Spain published Royal Decree 4/2014. It replaced an earlier 2007 standard and rewrote the rules. The old norm allowed up to 2 pigs per hectare in the dehesa during the acorn season. The new one cut that ceiling to 1.25. It also mandated individual electronic identification of every animal. The traceability platform behind that mandate is called Ítaca, and it's run by ASICI, the Interprofessional Association of the sector. The 4-color bands, physical, tamper-proof, applied at the slaughterhouse, became mandatory across the entire country. That's the visible change. The deeper one is structural. Spain didn't just clean up its labels, it built a centralized digital infrastructure around a regional product and made every commercial actor in the chain operate inside it. This has costs. Small producers face a lot of paperwork. Entering the bellota category requires certified land, certified breeding stock, presence in the SIGPAC parcel registry, and a contract with an authorized inspection body. Ítaca is also a single point of failure. Every producer plugs into a database run by an industrial association. Whether that's a feature or a vulnerability depends on what you can compare it to. In practice, it's become one of the most technical food standards in Europe. And here is where the system does something most explanations miss. It isn't only classifying ham. The dehesa is not a forest. It isn't a pasture either. It's a managed agroforestry landscape. Widely spaced oak trees, mostly holm oak and cork oak, sitting over a permanent grassland. Pigs, sheep, cattle, sometimes fighting bulls. About 3.5 million hectares of it in Spain, depending on how strictly you draw the line, plus around 1 million hectares in Portugal, called montados. Most of it sits in Extremadura, Andalucía, and Castilla y León. And here's a small detail that surprises Spaniards. Andalucía now produces more acorn-fed pigs than Extremadura does. Around 48% of certified bellota animals in the most recent campaign came from Andalucía, against 37% from Extremadura. The popular image places the dehesa squarely in Extremadura. The recent production data tells a more complicated story. So why does this matter for the ham? Because the bellota category, the most expensive ham, the smallest share of the certified market, is what makes the dehesa economically viable as a piece of land. Picture a piece of dehesa. The 1.25 pigs per hectare cap means each acorn-fed Iberian pig needs roughly 1 to 4 hectares of woodland to feed itself, depending on tree cover. That's an enormous footprint per animal, and that footprint is exactly what the standard is paying for. As cereal cropland, the same land would produce more revenue per year. As intensive pasture, more again. As a solar farm or a building plot, more again still. The dehesa survives because the ham coming out of it commands a price that a kilo of pork from an industrial farm cannot match. Take away the bellota premium and the math changes. The land doesn't disappear, its use does. Trees come out, cereals or olive groves go in. Density of intensive livestock goes up. The agroforestry landscape gets replaced with whatever earns more per hectare per year. So the standard isn't just a consumer protection tool, it's the policy mechanism that keeps a particular form of land use alive in a market that, on its own, would not select for it. The transparency the standard creates only works if the buyer can't read it. A Spanish shopper who has always buying Iberian ham for 30 years can read a black plastic band at a glance. A foreign buyer in London or Tokyo sees a black band and assumes it's the absolute best without realizing what the color is actually encoding. The label is technically transparent. In practice, it depends on knowing what you are looking at. There is also a second layer above the standard, 4 geographical denominations: Guijuelo in Salamanca, Jabugo in Huelva, Dehesa de Extremadura, and Los Pedroches in Córdoba. Operate as protected designations of the region under the EU Regulation 1151/2012, they sit on top of the national rulebook, with their own inspection regimes and their own labeling. About 17% of the most recent Acorn campaign production was certified under one of those PDOs. Step back from the ham for a moment. Bordeaux did this with vineyards, Italy did it with cheese, France did it again with champagne and with poultry. Spain has now done it more technically than any of them with Iberian pork. What looks, on the shelf, like a premium agricultural product is, underneath, a piece of territorial policy. The price of acorn-fed ham is what keeps a specific use of land economically competitive in a market that otherwise selects for monocultures, intensive livestock and concrete. The seal is the visible part. The 1.25 pigs per hectare cap is the policy. The dehesa is the thing being protected, and the consumer paying €100 a kilo for a cured leg meat is, without necessarily knowing it, paying the maintenance bill on a 3 million hectare landscape. Whether you read that as elegant regulation or an over-engineered subsidy depends on your view on agricultural policy. As a piece of system design, it's one of the more interesting examples on the continent. The same logic shapes olive oil, champagne, and parmesan. If you can think of another agricultural product that runs on this kind of regulation plus landscape arrangement, drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching.